As in the news this hour, I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. Following the outcome of the caucus meeting of the national leadership for the All Progressives Congress that threw him up as the candidate of the party for the Senate presidency, Ahmed Lawan has spoken of his delight at the honor done him. He made this known in an acceptance speech he delivered after the process. Bring a detail subsequently, but he appears that the House of the All Progressives Congress is divided against itself from the fallout of the election that held to determine who takes over the Senate presidency leadership of the 8th Assembly. After the election, which put factionist Senate President leader Senator Ahmed Lawan as winner, another faction of APC senators-elect of like minds have rejected the outcome of the just concluded election by the party for the principal offices of Senate President and Deputy Senate. They describe the process of voting as primitive and undemocratic. The anti-Lawan faction insists on an open, secret voting and would recognize and participate only in Tuesday, 9th June election. Femi Gbadabiamila has emerged as the sole candidate of the All Progressives Congress for the office of the Speaker in the 8th House after polling 154 votes out of 161 votes cast. He emerged victorious in a primary election conducted by the leadership of the APC in Abuja. The speakership position has two major contenders within the APC, but as Pasama reports, Yakubu Dogari and his supporters staged a walkout even before voting started.
The meeting started some minutes after 10 a.m. 183 members-elect attended the meeting and were accredited, but only 161 voted. The major contenders for the office of the Speaker are Femi Gbadabiamila and Yakubu Dogara. But first, the party leadership went into a closed-door meeting.
Coincided with the budgetary service of the Senate, so it was put today. We will have a bit more patience. We are about starting the election.
Shortly after the meeting, the members were set to vote. So, one after the other, they filed out to cast their votes. Like a normal political scenario, aggrieved members claimed they were not informed about the voting. They expressed their disappointment by staging a walkout from the venue.
Called a meeting of all members elect this morning. From the point of our arrival, we noticed a lot of strange happening. We noticed a lot of campaign going on.
Well, you see, we now want to go into any divisive argument. You see, members, elected members, whether governors or senators, should understand that the party is supreme.
After the actual voting, then it was time for counting of votes. But first, the party representatives say they are not going to interfere in the running of the National Assembly. The actual result was then counted and winner announced.
After having satisfied the right Honorable Femi Gbadabiamila has fulfilled all requirements of the party and has scored highest number of votes cast, is hereby declared sole candidate of the APC.
Responding shortly after, Femi Gbadabiamila say he will give the 8th House quality leadership. He called on all members to come together and give Nigerians the change they voted for.
That is not the mandate that I seek. Legally, yes, we need 181 members to be the Speaker. APC can provide that. But that is not the mandate that we seek. It will be legal, but it will not be a legitimate mandate. Legitimacy is found only where you get the votes across board of all the members of the House.
What is important today is that you, the members, you, the incoming members have freely elected your principal office.
For now, the APC has put his house in order by electing Femi as its sole candidate for the office of the Speaker. But it remains to be seen if this will repeat itself next week when the actual election will take place. Paris Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Earlier, APC spokesman Lai Mohammed has said 173 All Progressives Congress House of Members elect have signed an undertaking to abide by the party's choice as the Speaker of the 8th House of Representatives. Mohammed, who spoke off camera, had noted that the party was working hard to avoid a looming crisis over the leadership of the two chambers of the National Assembly. He maintained that the lawmakers are set to vote for the candidate of their choice before the action voting, which will take place at the complex on Tuesday next week. The aim of the election, according to him, is to present sole candidates for the position of Senate President and Speaker of the House of Representatives. The government of President Muhammadu Buhari has been charged to give priority to security in order to save Nigeria's educational sector. Speaking at Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, Nobel laureate Professor Wale Soyinka and other university dons advised the new administration to chart a new approach to tackling insurgency, which they believe will in turn restore the interest for education in the Northeast. This, they say, is pertinent for the new government in fulfilling its electoral promises in view of a better Nigeria. Rashid Thousand, this report.
Education is no doubt the bedrock of any nation's development. Citing the abduction of the Chibok girls, Nobel laureate Wale Soyinka says insecurity is threatening the little left of the Nigerian educational system, warning that with Boko Haram still on rampage, the temple of learning may collapse.
As our self-consciousness, as human beings, as parents, as citizens, I don't know about other people, but that image haunts me even till today, even when I'm not looking. When I just recollect those depersonalized children, under a tree perhaps, taken by their captors and broadcast.
For his part, the Chancellor of Kwara State University, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, the Buhari administration will have no excuse not to deliver its electoral promises.
Nigeria now has a new opportunity to deepen its democracy and to deliver its dividends, such as quality social services, including especially education and health, prosperity and security of life and property for the people. One thing is clear, however, change must not remain a slogan. The governments that have been elected on the platform of change must prepare themselves to deliver on their campaign promise.
Gambari also urged the federal government to close the gap between the rich and the poor in order to gain the trust of the masses.
The current socio-economic challenges, such as high poverty level, huge youth unemployment, persistent power blackout, despite huge amounts of money invested in that sector, the challenge of insecurity, especially the scourge of Boko Haram, and the perennial disconnect between the citizens and the government that has inevitably led to a high level of distrust of the leaders by the rest of the citizens must be tackled headlong.
As President Buhari gets set to constitute his cabinet, it is believed that these issues will take the front burner for the next 4 years. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
The All Progressives Congress has hailed President Muhammadu Buhari for his subtle diplomacy aimed at forging a stronger regional front against the Boko Haram insurgency, saying the president should be praised rather than ridiculed for his efforts. The party said in a statement issued in Abuja on Saturday by its National Publicity Secretary Alhaji Lai Mohammed that Boko Haram, which started off as a Nigerian problem, has now assumed a regional dimension, affecting many countries in West Africa, adding that any solution to the crisis, if it's to endure, must be regional in nature, with Nigeria taking the lead. The party spokesman posited since terrorism has assumed a global dimension, no nation, not even the superpower United States, can fight the growing menace alone. We'll take a break now and I'll be back with more stories after now. Don't go away.
Women share the most amazing thoughts on national issues, and they do it passionately.
For most men that are educated, that are exposed, will see nothing to it.
The population and The level of poverty made me cry. No infrastructural development whatsoever. And you tell me Lagos is working?
That was an accident. And it was a one-off thing. Other than that, there has never been any situation in Nigeria where a Nigerian attacked anybody just because of where they came from.
Sharing the adorable word of women in politics every week, only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. You can get all of our top stories on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NG. We're streaming live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/CoreTV, level space and news. A Bayelsa State High Court sitting in Yenagua will on Tuesday give accelerated hearing in the suit brought before it by the suspended chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Sam Inokoba. Inokoba had gone to court over the activities of the PDP's disciplinary committee, which expelled some members for alleged anti-party activities. The case instituted by Inokoba and Osum Blackson is challenging the constitution of the committee. The court, presided over by the Chief Judge Kate Abiri, refused to grant an order for an interim injunction filed by the applicant and directed the council to proceed with the originating motion. Abiri ruled that the disciplinary committee had already taken some actions by expelling and suspending some members, and so granting an injunction will have no effect anymore. She then adjourned the case till Tuesday for the substantive matter to begin. The ongoing indefinite state and local government workers' strike in Plateau State seems not to have an end in view, as the labor leaders have vowed now to maintain the struggle until the new administration begins a tangible negotiation that will lead to payment of salaries and wages owed. The workers had on May 4 embarked on strike to protest the non-payment of salaries and other emoluments of over 8 months.
But he pleaded. We still said he has to make a commitment before we call our members back to work. So he told us that he was going to meet with the head of service and his bank sex. So since then, he has not called us yet. So we are still waiting for his call.
The ongoing indefinite strike, of course, will bring you an update on that subsequently. Barely 4 days after the fire disaster involving a fuel tanker destroyed property worth millions of naira at Iyano-Ipaja area of Lagos State, another fire incident caused by a fuel tanker has occurred in the Idibo area of Alimosho local government area of Lagos. According to residents of the area, the extent of the damage caused by the incident is colossal, as the fire is said to have started around 12 a.m. Our correspondent Abiola Oluwole has the rest of the story.
Just few days after a tanker conveying fuel skewed off the road in Iyano-Ipaja, destroying property worth millions of naira, residents of Idimo in the same Alimosho local government were caught unawares by another fire incident caused by a petrol-laden tanker. 34 houses and 70 shops were razed in the inferno. According to the Director, Lagos State Fire Service, Razak Fadipe, and the Lagos Sector Commander of Federal Road Safety Corps, Ignos Omeje, the incident was caused by recklessness of the tanker driver.
So it is very important the owner of this vehicle should ensure that they engage the service or drivers that can read and understand road signals. How can a driver be on the speed when you are negotiating a bend? Also, drivers that wants to drive at night, that's the law of the state, traffic rules of the state, that, and it's just because to avoid this kind of incident or accident, that's why they said they should be driving at night. Drivers that want to drive at night must ensure that in the morning that he rests, and in the afternoon he rests.
From the information I had, the tanker, there was also another tipper that was involved, but it's like in the context of the road, the tipper was able to maneuver his way, outsmarted him, and then this man has already lost control and crashed here.
I want to advise the public, those who are here, to ensure they maintain the cordon of area, especially for buildings that are burnt, so that we don't have a secondary emergency.
Victims of the inferno decry the lawlessness of the tanker driver. The called on government for assistance to bail them out of the trauma caused by the disaster.
Nobody can say either it's diesel or petrol or kerosene, but when it got out from the trailer, so as it was running down this way, it got engulfed through the suya cellar there. So almost 80 shops got burnt. Just around 2 a.m. I was hearing call that my brother's shop is on fire. So I came down. So when I came here was helpless, nobody. So they now, just about a couple of minutes, then the fire service came.
After moving round the affected areas, Governor Akinwumi Ambade promised succor for those affected and directed that relevant agencies work to enumerate victims of the inferno.
I commiserate with all the people here. I'm appealing for them for calm. We've also said we'll do immediate relief and we should take enumeration and see in what way we can address this issue.
While the emergency workers and residents point accusing fingers at the recklessness of tanker drivers, articulating a reasonable approach in transporting inflammable substances across the country remains an issue begging for urgent intervention by the appropriate authorities.
The senator-elect for Lagos West Senatorial District, Solomon Adiola, has extended his commiseration to his constituents on yet another petrol tanker accident at Idimo, where about 40 houses were burnt and property worth millions of naira destroyed. This is the second accident in less than a week following the petrol tanker accident at Iyanoipaja Bridge axis, where properties and residential buildings were lost to the ensuing inferno. The senator-elect, who is the outgoing representative of Alimosho Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, said the recurrence of these accidents requires government at all levels to take a holistic look at the mode of transportation of highly inflammable material through densely populated areas. He also wants government to consider a compensatory system through insurance when such accidents occur. The senator-elect, however, noted relevant regulatory agencies need to come up now with policies on the control and maintenance of articulated vehicles carrying inflammable materials, especially as the accidents could be traced to lack of maintenance, as well as the hours of operation in densely populated areas. We'll take another break now, and I'll be back with stories outside Nigeria. Join me again.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that should be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it is about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power. In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
Welcome back. It's good news for Barca fans as Barcelona Football Club claimed their fourth Champions League in 6 years. The brilliance of the attacking feat proved too much for the brave challenge of Juventus in Berlin's Olympic Stadium on Saturday. It was Barca's fifth Champions League win overall. In a thrilling spectacle, and with both Barcelona and Juventus attempting a claim to a treble after winning domestic league and cup competitions, it was loser Enrique's side that eventually came out top. Barcelona started rather as if they would romp to a comfortable victory when Ivan Rakitic capped the sort of passing, the move that has become their symbol to put them ahead inside 5 minutes. Juventus also weighs a danger after ending notions of an El Clasico final by beating Real Madrid in the last four, showed fierce resilience, and with veteran keeper Gianluigi Buffon defiant, held on for Alvaro Morata to scramble in equalizer before the hour. The Nigeria under-20 team, fueled by a deafening noise at the stadium Taranaki, put their Hungarian opponents to a sod 2-0 in the final Group E game played on Sunday morning. A brace from Taiwan Wuni was all the reigning African youth champions needed to silence Ben Stokes' team, who started the game brightly. With this victory, the Flying Eagles will now face European champions Germany in the second round of the tournament, billed for June 11 at the Christchurch Stadium. The Flying Eagles' first chance came in the 16th minute when Awuniyi's short-range header was saved by goalkeeper Georgie Zekeli, who gave a good account of himself in the highly entertaining encounter. Awuniyi got the curtain raiser in the 33rd minute after volleying past Zekeli from the near post after receiving a low cross from impressive Savio Godwin. On resumption of the second half, Manu Garba's team continued their dominant play through Mario Nemeth and had a couple of chances to put his team back, but Joshua Naholo denied him. In the 54th minute, Awuniyi doubled his lead after rounding the Ugandan goalkeeper before slotting in an empty net after a moment of carelessness from the Europeans' backline. No goals were recorded after then as Nigeria cruised to the last 16, where they will face Germany in the knockout phase. Even at this defeat, Hungary still qualified as one of the best third-place teams and will now kick off the knockout phase against Group D winner Serbia in Dunedin. And to another story outside Nigeria, Russian President Vladimir Putin says his country was not a threat to the West and that he was still committed to a Ukraine peace deal despite a fresh flare-up in violence. According to an Italian newspaper, he says there's no need to be afraid of Russia. In an interview published on Saturday, ruling out a major conflict between Russia and NATO member countries. The world has changed so much the people in the right mind cannot imagine such a large-scale military conflict today. End of quote. His comments come as 3 Baltic countries prepare to ask for a permanent presence of NATO troops as a deterrent to the Russian military. NATO says Russia is backing rebels in Ukraine, which Moscow still denies. Egypt's appeal court has overturned a ruling that listed the Palestinian militant group Hamas as a terrorist organization. In February, a lower court designated Hamas a terrorist organization, accusing it of supporting an insurgency in Egypt's northern Sinai. The verdict came after 2 complaints were reportedly filed against the militant group, implicating it in attacks against the police and army in Peninsula. Militants have killed scores of policemen and soldiers since President Morsi's removal, vowing revengeful government moves against the supporters that have resulted in more than 1,004 of their people being killed. Egypt has traditionally played a key role in mediating between Israel and Hamas in Gaza and is seen as a key player in any peace or security talks. Hamas dominates Gaza and fought a 50-day war with Israel the last time. Well, that wraps it on the news this hour. Do join us again at the top of the hour for updates on the stars. I am Nifemi Untoye. Thanks for being back.